One of the original suggestions by the Discovery computer in order to calm down the stress levels of the crew is to give them coloring books. God, guys, I'm sorry I'm so late with this review. I've been so busy. I've been doing quadruple shifts, okay? We had a problem with Ensign Carlito. We were at Starbase L6. Ensign Carlito started a bad fight, and yada yada yada. He got busted back down to crewman. Then he got into an altercation with the captain, Hodark, and basically he had to spend the night in the brig. Then they gave him remedial education at Starfleet, so we had to drop him off back at Starbase L6 and wait for a ship to come take him back to San Francisco. Meanwhile, I had to pick up his shift in hydroponics, so I've been doing 6-hour bridge shift, 12-hour engineering deck shift, and I've been doing a 4-hour shift in hydroponics. So I'm all strung out, and yes, these pretzels are making me thirsty. Moreover, I've been strung out, tired, and I wasn't able to watch Discovery, and I finally just watched it today. So I know it's a bit late, but let's get into it. This was Discovery episode 4 of season 3, called Forget Me Not, and hopefully this episode's not forgettable. It involves the Trill. It involves learning more about Adira, and it's not all bad. So, the opening was pretty interesting. It looked cool. We've got some cool shots of Discovery in this episode. Interesting space scenes. Space looks a little bit more believable now than it does in past seasons. It's a lot darker now. Interesting music. I love the music in this episode. Jeff Russo, if he's doing the background music, good job. But I still don't like his theme song. Sorry. They discover that Adira's symbiote, or symbiont inside her, Tal, we know it's called Tal now. So what we thought was Admiral Senna-tal was actually just Admiral Senel, or Senna. And his name is, when it's his Trill name, is senna-tal, when he's combined with the Tal symbiont. And as such, Adira is Adira Tal. They go to Trill in order to unlock the memories of the symbiont inside Adira, because that Trill symbiont should have the memories of senna-tal, correct? And he was the one who sent out the distress signal to the Discovery, saying that he was like the last member of the Federation and whatnot. And seeing as how we're trying to find the Federation, we need to basically learn what senna-tal knows. So we go to Trill, and we do a Kurtzman jump straight to Trill. We spore drive right there, bam! And even at the risk of scaring the shit out of the people on the Trill world, who probably don't know what spore drive is, even though the episode prior, we spore jumped away from Earth and then went in at sublight, even though it only took a few seconds to get there. We didn't do the same in this episode. Didn't really understand why, but it seems fine, everything's good, everything's okay, but then they get down to the planet, which they took a shuttle to, by the way. I don't know why. Why didn't you just beam down? They took the shuttle down, and wouldn't you know it, the Trill don't like human hosts for symbionts. Oh my god, this is against the rules. We can't have this. Whatever is going to happen in this episode, are we going to discover that it's okay to have human hosts? I haven't seen this plot before, really, you know? Oh my god, these guys were just backwards and wrong, and look, it turns out it's okay to do this thing. Wow. So they go to the spawning pool. I call it the spawning pool, even though I don't know what the hell it is. And it looks kind of the same as it did in Deep Space Nine. Basically a cool cave with pools of glowing water. And what you do is you go into this water and you have a communion with your symbiont. And you get better connected to their memories and all that. So that you can communicate thoughts and ideas of both the symbiont and all its past hosts. And Adira is basically sneaking into this pool by the help of one of the defectors of the Trill who wanted to help Adira when the other ones didn't because she was a human. She goes down into the Trill pool and goes to this ugly looking green screen world. I think we're running out of money here. I think some of these episodes are starting to look ugly. I thought this was an ugly green screen effect. My green screen's better and I paid $10. Just kidding. And they're basically inside the mind of the symbiont. And wouldn't you know it, Michael Burnham finds a way to get involved in this too. She finds a way to be involved. Somebody tweet at Wilson Cruz that Sonequa Martin Green stole your scene. This was meant for Culber. Because before this, Culber was originally going to be the one to go down with Adira onto Trill. And that was his scene. That scene belonged to Wilson Cruz, the actor who plays Dr. Culber. This is Wilson's scene. They gave it to Michael because Michael has to be the hero. Wilson, are you listening? They go down there, and Michael has to go in the pool with her, and they have a co-mind meld, and somehow Michael is down there in symbiont communion world, green screen zone, and they're talking to each other, and basically what happens is Adira has to resolve her past trauma with the loss of her boyfriend Gray in order to get at the memories of Admiral Senna. And this basically works out how you'd expect with a touching moment. It was okay. It was emotional. I didn't mind it, even though I don't have a heart. And basically they get out of the pool. The Trills accept that they were wrong, and Adira is all cool. And she has the memories that they need to get on the path to finding the Federation. And given that the ship that was originally sent out to find the Federation with Adira and Gray on it before they had their accident, and Gray had to give his symbiont to Adira, even though she's a human. At one point they mentioned that was a generation ship. So I think where the Federation is very far away. So that's the A plot. Much better than the B plot. Because the B plot was a ship in a bottle kind of ship/bridge crew plot involving Saru, where Saru was trying to find a way, how do I make the crew happy? What do I do? He asks the computer, hey comp, how do I make the crew happy? And the computer is all talking robotic. Have you tried yoga? Have you tried limiting the amount of dairy in their diet? And this is not working. And Sarah's like, this is stupid. Like, I can't listen to the computer now. This is dumb. Like, this isn't going to work. And then the computer just goes boop and turns into a way more human-sounding voice and says, like, hey, why don't you try a movie or try having a dinner? And Sarah immediately notices this, and he's like, whoa, why does the computer sound different right now? Holy crap, run a level 10 diagnostic. And later on in the episode, he just accepts that the computer is different now. I mean, it's obviously the sphere data. The sphere data somehow got into the computer of Discovery and is now making the computer sentient. You know, Season 2 is really stupid. Like, I'm surprised at, looking back, how stupid Season 2 is. There's so much stupid crap in Season 2. Like, sphere data, dark matter. What is all this crap? It's just a bunch of crap. It's a bunch of gimmicks. And dark matter is back in this episode. Dark matter is the new quantum. When you want to sound cool, we'll just say dark matter. Ooh. Tilly suggests having a dark matter interface for the spore drive to save Stamets the work. And even I thought that sounded ridiculous. Like, what does that have to do with The spore drive. What is it? What does dark matter in this instance have to do with the mycelial network? And Stamets just completely blows it over the water and says, "No, this idea is stupid. We're not doing it." And I was like, "Right on, Stamets. That's what I thought too." Even I thought that sounded ridiculous, and I listen to Technobabble all the time from the guys in engineering. So they have a dinner. It goes awry because Detmer is suffering from some kind of PTSD and lashes out at Stamets. Stamets is in a fight with Tilly. It all goes to shit. But it's okay because at the end, they have movie night. And everybody hugs and, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, look at this movie. Isn't this cool? Oh, let's be friends." And basically, we find out in B plot, crew is sick and tired of being in the future. Saru has a failed dinner. And then they watch a movie. And then everything's better. And oh yeah, the computer is taken over by a rogue foreign AI intelligence that, oh my god, we need to get rid of this. Except we don't, because we're probably just going to go along with the new computer. So that's the B plot. Sucked. A plot. Okay. There's your episode. Let's get down into some of the things I noticed and I wanted to point out in my notes. This episode is continuing the trend from last episode with Tilly somehow being considered one of the greatest minds on the ship. Guys, when did she become a genius? I've seen every episode of this so far. Am I crazy? Or is all this stuff about Tilly being super smart like really recent? It feels like if that was going to be part of her character, that would have been in episode like 3 of Discovery when we first meet her. Am I wrong? This episode had lots of cool shots of Discovery, and I noticed that in keeping with Discovery's spore drive, a lot of the shots of Discovery have a strong verticality to them. We see shots of the Discovery moving up and down, and the camera going up and down, and not really forward and back and side to side like we're used to in Star Trek. I thought it was kind of cool, and it brings to light the 3D dimensionality of space. A lot of people forget that space is not just a 2D plane like an ocean. It's 3D, and things are up and down, as well as left and right. You know, if you think there's an up, down, left, and right in space, that is. Kind of cool. One of the original suggestions by the Discovery computer in order to calm down the stress levels of the crew is to give them coloring books. What? Can't they just draw pictures on a pad? Like, can't you just give them a pad and just... They look at the pad and just maybe select paint on their pad? I draw pictures here all the time. You know, what the heck? I haven't seen a coloring book my entire life. Okay. Who wrote that into the scene? Why wouldn't they suggest painting? You know, or an art class? You know? Or sculpting? Why do we have to be so infantile about it? Like, we just dropped coloring book right onto the audience's lap and just expected you to look at it and say, this makes sense. You know? The uniform we see in the apparition of Admiral Senna-tal in the communion scene with the symbiont and Adira, the uniform he is wearing, it looks so Bajoran. Am I crazy, or does it look like they just took a Bajoran uniform straight off of Deep Space Nine and just colored it different? I understand this is probably an Admiral's uniform, but holy crap, I hope that's not the standard duty uniform of Starfleet in that time, because Senna-tal so far is wearing the most recent Starfleet uniform we've seen on screen yet, being that it's the year 3100 and something. God, I hope that's not what the duty uniforms look like, because it looks very ugly. It's very forgettable. I can't even remember what it exactly looks like, other than it looks like standard fare Bajoran upholstery clothes, basically like standard Deep Space Nine background character clothes, where they look like a couch. Interestingly, most of the things that Saru does to calm down the crew is just things that Captain Archer did, Like, I remember what Captain Archer used to do was that if the crew was getting uppity, they would have like a meal in the captain's mess. Like, he would take some members of the crew, maybe he would take Reed, maybe he would take Trip, and they would have dinner in the captain's mess, and then they would also have movie night on multiple occasions. And we just kind of stole that for this episode. Kind of like maybe the computer was accessing its memories of Captain Archer, or Sarah said, I seen this show called Star Trek Enterprise, and they had movie night, and they had dinner with the captain. I should do that. At the end of this episode, Adira gives the necessary coordinates for finding the Federation to Michael Burnham. And it looks like we're hot on the trail next episode. And we're gonna find the Federation. But not before we have a stopover on these different planets and get up into shenanigans, I bet. I bet there's gonna be some shenanery coming up. One more thing. Would this episode have been confusing for anyone if they had not had prior knowledge of trills and how trill biology works? I mean, I have the benefit of having seen Deep Space Nine, so it doesn't confuse me at all. But would someone who has never seen anything about the trills before be confused by that? I don't know. It's an interesting question. In conclusion, this episode felt like it had heart, and I appreciated the slower pace. It had beautiful shots of Discovery and also beautiful music. It's light on plot, but high on emotion. This episode isn't for everyone, but I think it might just have been for me. Not much to return to on a repeat viewing, as with most episodes of Discovery. People who have not seen Deep Space Nine may have some difficulty with the Trill concepts. A plot was interesting, but the B plot wasn't at all. Some good character building happened between Stamets, Tilly, and Detmer that may become necessary later on, as the plot thickens. I came away feeling good, but with no serious philosophical question for my brain to chew on. 5.5 out of 10. My favorite episode so far, but just by a hair. I liked it a little bit better than the last one. And if we can continue the rest of the season with these slower paced episodes that don't feel so schizophrenic, I'd feel okay with it. I would think this would be my favorite season if we can keep the slow pace we had in this episode, but somehow I don't think we will. Somehow we're going to lose our minds when we get to the last 30% of the season, and it's going to go completely crazy. Did you notice how I rearranged some things on the bridge? I asked the captain about it, and he said it was okay. So what we did was I moved some of the things around, I changed the position of my chair, and I moved the plaque. And I think the screen's different too. So what this different screen will allow me to do is to more easily put things in post, because now we're no longer going to be having motion clips of the episodes, because for some reason CBS was okay with me doing that with Lower Decks, and they're not okay with me doing that with Discovery. So it's going to look a little different from now on, but we're going to see how it works out, okay? And remember, if you want your comments read, just post them. If you hated this video, subscribe. If you liked it, click like. And if you hate me, also subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. We have to go pick up a new ensign to replace Carlito. So I should be getting some time off again. Who knows? Maybe if you guys put in a good word with the captain for me, I might get a free shift here and there just to dick around, because I'm pretty strung out right now. Ensign Carlito, you bastard.